Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be building how to create a sleek landing page using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, the libraries that we're going to be using for the animation is GSAP, and then for the slider, we're going to be using Swiper.js. Now, we're going to be learning in this video how to add custom on-change effects or on-change animations to Swiper.js so that in future, when you develop sites and when you want to create some creative animations for text, cards, images, buttons, and whatnot, then it is easier for you to build instead of going around looking for different tutorials and stuff like that. So in this video, we're going to be building this from scratch. And then I've also added, you see, scroll changes. So basically, when you move or you scroll down, the slide change, you can also grab the slides and you can slide left and right. And then there is also, you'd see that this image kind of scales in, okay, so zooms in whenever the slide changes, and then after a certain interval of time, you'd see the slide automatically changes. So we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff using Swiper.js and GSAP. So yeah, hopefully you would enjoy this video. The source code of this video is down in the description, so please download and have fun. And do let me know what you liked about this video. And also, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and please share the video with your friends and family. And yeah, write and comment what you liked about this video. And yeah, let's get started. So this is where I have deployed it. So the link would be down in the description. So the URL says avengers-ui.netlify.app. And then this is the blank page. And okay, so here in the folder, I have the images folder, wherein I have different images. Then I have the index.html file and style.css file. So we're going to basically have 3 slides. You'd see that this is the so this is the first one, this is the second, and then the third one. And then we'd have some text. So we have 2 types of text. One is the bold, and then the one is the thin one. And then a background, we have kind of a linear gradient background which animates. And then we have a card here with a quote and also the author, and then an image. Okay, and then right at the bottom, we have basically the counter, slider counter. So first, we would need a couple of links or CDNs. So first, we'd need Swiper.js. So you can go to Swiper.js. You can just type Swiper.js and then hit enter. The first link that opens up, you're going to click onto that. And then go to this docs and says this getting started. Click here and then scroll down, copy this link and also this script link, and then just paste it here. So we have the CSS link here and then the JavaScript here. And then also we need GSAP. So we can just type GSAP and then you can type cdnjs. Go to the first link, copy the first option, this one, and then just paste it here. Okay, so we're done with that. Now let's go to the basic, or kind of like the broiler template for Swiper.js. So you can come to the demos, and since you'd see the one that we're using has this navigation, so we're going to look for the slider which has navigation. So we can have this one. So this has 1 slide per view, and then also it has navigation. Okay, let's click here in the core, which takes us to Code Sandbox. And then here you would find the JavaScript along with HTML and CSS for the slider, basically the entire code of the slider. So you can copy from here and then paste it here. But then we would need some other elements as well. So first, for the entire website, we can have a main div. And then you see that here we have the logo. So we have the logo div, and then here I'm just going to be adding the logo. And then the swiper. So this swiper, okay? So you have the swiper div, within which you have the swiper wrapper, and then the different slides, okay? And then right after the swiper slider ends, we have two divs for the two navigation buttons. One is button next and one is button preview. So you have the swiper and then the two buttons, and then you also have the swiper wrapper, within which you have the swiper slide. So within the swiper slide, what we would have is, first we'd have the background image, two types of text, the background, and then the card, and also these counters. So first we have the overlay, we have the image, and then the bold text, and then the thin text. The bold text says Scarlett, and then you have a span tag which says Johnson. And then you have the background gradient, so which has TBG, which basically is text background. Okay, and then in each individual text background, here we're gonna add a style tag. We're gonna have background, linear gradient, and we would add the gradient color. So basically we want it to move from left to right. So we'd say to right, and then we'd paste in the two colors. The reason for adding it here in the HTML is because if you add it in CSS, the problem would be that you would only be able to add this this linear gradient color for only one element, or basically whenever you add the style in CSS, that would get applied to all the different TBGs. And so for individual, you would have to add ID, and then you would have to specify it in the CSS. So instead, you can have it in just the background color. You could have it in HTML, and then you could just change the linear gradient background. So we have the TBG, and then we have the quote, basically the card. And here we have the profile, which has the image, and then this italic or I tag. Here you have the quotation, the quote, and then you have the symbol, and then you have the author. Okay, so we're basically done with most of the stuff, and then we have the counter. So if you see, this is so this font is a bit different compared to this. So we have this inside of a span, and then the 03 is out of the span. Okay, so we're basically done with the slider. So for the other two sliders, I'll just paste those two in. Okay, let's refresh. So we won't see any changes probably now. Yeah, we have to scroll down to see stuff. Okay. All right. Now let's go to the CSS. Now for the CSS, you can paste entire stuff from here, paste it here. So that is what I initially did, but then as it went on, some stuff I changed. So first, I would want to remove the margin and padding, and then also set box size into border box. And then the body, I've set the font family as Poppins, font size, color, margin, padding 0 again. So these basically are coming from here. Okay, so since I kind of copy pasted the broiler CSS, so you'd see some of the stuff are from here, and some of the stuff might be redundant. So basically, the same margin and padding is added here. So yeah, I should have removed, but it is what it is. Okay, so there's that. And then the main would have the width 100%, height 100%, since the main is inside of the body, and then the swiper is inside of the main. So if we want to have the swiper in respect to the percentage, so we need to have width and height of the main specified. So we've set it as 100%. And then for the logo, we're going to position it absolute, z-index of 1000, so that it is always on top. left 20 pixels, top 0. Let's save. Okay. And then the image width is this. Okay. So we have the Avengers logo. Now the swiper, so width 100%, height 100%, which is coming from here. And then the swiper slide would have text align center, font size 18 pixels, this and that. So this is basically from here, okay? And then this position relative is because we're going to absolutely position stuff. So I've just added that. Overlay needs to be absolutely positioned. Z index to 10. Inset to 0, which is basically instead of specifying top, left, right, bottom, or if you want to specify top and left and then give 100% width and height. So instead of doing all that, you can just specify one property and this would get everything done. So inset 0 means top 0, left 0, right 0, bottom 0, basically taking the entire width and height. And then the linear gradient background. So this needs to have a dark background so that the text, which is white, is easily readable. So we'd have a 45 degrees of linear gradient, and I would paste in the different shades of black. Okay. Then the image would have a width of 100%, object fit to contain. Let's save. Okay, looks good. Now this is also will be positioned absolutely. I don't know why I added position absolute. Okay, you don't need this position absolute. You can just remove it. Maybe after it is done, I'll probably remove it. So for the text T thin and T bold would have position absolute, left 200 pixels, font size 100 pixels, Z index to 1000. Let's save. Okay. So they're stuck here. Okay. But then the T bold, we can have a font weight of bold, and then transform translate to Y, basically move it a bit up, and then the color needs to be white. And then the T thin would have a font weight of 100, but then would translate it along the x-axis 50 pixels and along the y-axis as 120 pixels. Okay. Color needs to be white as well. Okay. Now the background, okay. So we'd have a span of display flex. I wonder why I added this as well. So you don't need this as well. So TBG would have width of 112%, height 100%, position absolute, top and left value of this, Z index of -1. Okay. So with this, you would see if you, okay. So we have not initialized our swiper.js. So we have not added the JavaScript, which we're going to be doing later once the styling is done. So this is how this would look. Now for the counter, we would have position absolute, bottom 0, right 100 pixels, font size, font weight, and also color to white, and Z index to 100. Okay. Now the span needs to be bigger in size. So we're going to increase the font size and also font weight. Okay. Now for the quote, we can have position absolute with 500, padding 20 pixels, and then from the bottom, we're going to have 45 pixels. And then we're going to have a border of 1 pixel solid of this white alpha value, so that when we have the glass morphism effect, the border does not stand out too much, but then we just want to have some subtle border. Z index to 1000, so that it's on top. Top 68% font size to this, and a background to this. The backdrop filter. So this is the most essential property if you want to have the glass morphism effect. So we're going to have a blur, and then here we can specify the blur. In this case, 10 pixels. Okay. The color needs to be white. And then we're going to have a box shadow of 10 pixels, basically X and Y value, and then a blur of 10 pixels. And then the color of this, basically black with alpha value of 0.1. And then the same would have for the opposite side, so -X and -Y. and then the blur this time would be 20 pixels, and also we would increase the alpha value. Okay. Now the I tag, we can have font weight of 300, and then the span, which has the author name, we're going to set a position absolute, right 20, bottom 20. Okay. Font size 16, font weight to bold, and then color to this. Okay, let's save. Now, so this is how it looks. Okay. So this is the reason why I've added this padding bottom of 45 pixels, so that from the bottom it has more gap, so that we can position this author name absolutely at the bottom right corner. Now for the profile image, so it needs to be circular in shape, so we're going to have same height and width and border radius to 50%. We're going to hide any overflow, and then we're going to position it absolutely, and we're going to position it top 0, left 0, and then translate it along x minus 50% and along y minus 80%. And then we're going to have the same border as we have for the quote. Let's save. Okay. Now for the image, we're going to have height and width to 100%, object fit to cover. But then if you remember, we have here somewhere image. Okay. So this image, we've specified it position absolute. I don't know why. So we should not have added that, but then it is what it is. So here we're going to specify position relative just because of that. But then if you remove it from there, you wouldn't really need to add anything here. Okay. So this is basically, so I was kind of trying out what would look best. So yeah, due to that, I have some of the properties that we do not really need. Okay. So there's that. And then the next, and then the previous button, you would see that by default, they're blue in color. So you can set the white color and then add exclamation important, so that this has more priority than the blue color. When you save, they turn to white. And the background would be black, padding 40 pixels, display flex. Let's save. And then so you see some gap from left and right as well. So font size needs to be 30 pixels. And then the next would have right 0, and the pre would have left 0. Okay. Okay, so we're done with the HTML. Let's remove this. We don't need this. Okay. And then there was another property, I think this one. We don't need this as well. Okay. So with that, we're done with the CSS and also HTML. Let's add the JavaScript. Now to initialize any swiper slide, so you basically copy this, paste it here. Okay. And instead of pasting, I would just type in. So here you initialize a new swiper, and then you add the class. So in this case, they've added a custom mySwiper class, but then we would just target the swiper class that we have. And then here we would pass in the different properties. So we want the autoplay to start with a delay of 5,000, meaning 5 seconds. And then the loop needs to be true. For navigation, we would have the next element, the next button that you see, this one. So this would be the swiper button next class that we are having, and then for the previous we'd have the swiper button pre. And the mouse wheel needs to be true. Let's save. Okay, you see, looks good. Now the speed is 1000, meaning 1 second, so we'd have it won't be that fast. Okay. And then the effect would be cover flow. Now if you come here, if you scroll down, you'd see there are different effects. You have the fade effect. Okay. This. You have cube. And then you have this cover flow here. You're going to go to the core. Let's close this. Okay. And then here you see you have this grab cursor, center slide, slide preview auto, all these. If you want, you can just copy paste everything. So you have grab cursor, center slide through, slides preview, cover flow, rotate 50, stretch 1, depth modifier 1. So I've just pasted in what it was here. So here stretch was 0. I think I have it here 1. So not much of a deal. And then slide shadows to true. And then now we would have our custom animation. So to add custom animation, we can have this on. And then here, we're going to have the slide change, which is predefined in Striper. And then here, we're going to write a function. And then here, we're going to have the animation that we want to have when the slide changes. So first, we're going to target the current slide. So we're going to create a variable with the name of current slide. And then we're going to target this dot slides, which basically have all the different indexes or all the different slides. And then we're going to target the index that is active. So basically the current slide. And then that we're going to store in this variable. Now we're going to have GSAP dot from to. Now what is this? So this basically has two states, the initial and the final state. And then you want to have the different animations that you want to show for the initial state, or how the element would be at its initial state, and then how it would be in the final state. And then GSAP would automatically animate or add the different frames so that it moves from initial state to the final state. So if we come here and type GSAP dot from to, let's open up. So what it does is, so here first you specify the element. Okay, in this case we're specifying the current child, and then we're gonna using and then we're using query selector, and we're targeting the image. So we basically have the background image, this image as the element, and then we have the initial state. Here they've set the box with opacity of 0 as the initial state, and then the final state is 0.5 opacity, but then this happens with a duration of 1 seconds. So here we would have the initial state and the final state. So initial state would have scale to 1.2, basically the size would be bigger, but then as it goes on, the scaling would reduce, and then it would come back to normal, which is 1. And then duration would be 5, same as the autoplay, which is 5 seconds. And then we'd have the element T bold for the text bold. And then we'd have Y, basically the Y axis, we'd have it 100 initially. And then opacity would be 0. But then finally, we'd have it at its original place, which is Y0. Opacity would be 1. The duration would be 1 seconds. And then we'd do it for the span. Just paste in. Now for the background. So the background would have the width initially as 0. And then as it goes on, the final width would be 112%. If you look here, the width is 112%. So you just add that. The duration would be 0.5. And then this would start at a delay of 0.5 seconds. And then we'd have the quote. Let's save first and let's see the animations till now. Okay, so we have this. Okay, looks good. Okay, now we need to animate the quote card and then also the counter. So here the quote would move, so initially would be Y200, and then opacity would be 0, but the final state would be the original place, basically here. So initially it would be somewhere out of the screen, somewhere down here, and then as it as time passes, it would slide up. So just add that, and the duration would be 1 second, and also delay of 0.5. And then for the counter as well, I've just pasted in, everything's the same. The only change would be the delay of 0.5. Let's save. Okay. All right. So yeah, there it is, guys. Hopefully you learned how to use Swiper.js to build modern creative sliders and carousels. And also, hopefully you have learned how to create custom animations on the on-slide change function or the on-slide change event that fires up when the slide changes in Swiper.js using GSAP. So yeah, this is it, guys. This is for the video. The source code is in the description. So do download, do check it out. And also comment down what you liked about this video and if this video was helpful. So please comment down. This would help my video get pushed to a wider range of people. So yeah, it is what it is. So meet you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Till then, bye bye. Take care.